Shalom, everyone. Uh, Let me start recording here. We have had to start over. Um, okay, hopefully we're recording now, and we have been working. I'm on live now. We've been trying to get on both Facebook live streaming and YouTube at the same time. And I think it's going to take another week, but we have got it here on YouTube right now, and a link is being posted to the people on Facebook. And so hopefully we'll get this worked out, and we'll get all the bugs done. All right. Let me get a few things set up here. Okay, I have a number of prayer requests, and these are really important. Okay. First off, I want to ask for prayer for Justin Hott's family. Okay, for his mother, who had a massive stroke, numbers of complications, his father who has terminal cancer, and his sister Raina. Okay, Raina's got several medical problems, and so please be praying for this situation. I can't emphasize how important it is to be praying right now. They need to have some real miracles that occur. Okay, and I mean, just we need to break through the gates of heaven on this one. Okay, all right. Now, also, Brad Gaskill is going to have surgery. I talked to Brad and Cindy a couple days ago, and Brad is doing well. He's gaining weight. The surgery, he believes, will be the first week of April. They're going to go in behind his ear to be able to remove his eye and to take the cancer out. I'm not sure of all the various things that will come from that, but the really great news is he has been gaining weight steadily. He's gained over 10 pounds since they did the biopsy. And so please be praying for him. Cancer in your head is not a thing that you play with, okay? Fortunately, the cancer has spread into some of the blood vessels, but they are going away from the brain and not back towards the brain. And so that's good news. And we want to center on the good news. Okay. Okay. Now, I spoke this morning to Grayson and Lisa Jeffords, and they are praying that when they operate, they go in, that the doctors are not sure that there's actually cancer there. Okay. The scans and so forth, sometimes they're deceptive, and so they're going to go in, and the prayer is that they will find that everything is reconciled and he's doing great, and just basically sew him back up and everything. However, if they get in there and they find that they do have to do a more radical surgery, then please be praying that it would be totally 100% successful, and that that he would the doctors would have all the skill that is needed, and make the right choices, and we just need to put this before heaven. Okay, and so please be praying that he continues to get stronger, and that Hashem leads them and guides them. Okay. Now, Nick Scorpinato is going to have back surgery the same week. Okay. Now, Grayson's possibly will be delayed a little bit. There's a situation with his parents. Were supposed to fly home to be home in time for the surgery. I think they were supposed to come in like March 27th, but they were flying out of London, and the fire damaged the airport, and so there's no flights out, and so they're having to take the a cruise ship, okay, to get back. And so they're going to be delayed a little bit. Be praying that all of that works out also. Now, Nick Scarpinato is going to have back surgery. And I think the surgery is set for April 2nd. And please be lifting him up. It's back surgery. And it's supposed to be, go in and they're going to fix several things and he's going to be a lot better. But anytime you're dealing with the back and everything, you want to have everything go exactly right. So please be praying for Nick. On our end, it's a lot that we have all these, everybody that I'm telling you about, we're extremely close to. And all of these are occurring at the same time and everything. And so please just be praying that we be wise in our prayer and that we be direct in our prayer. Okay. All right. Tonight we are going to talk about we're going to talk about the Pesach. We've been dealing with the tractate Zevakim, and Pesach is right around the corner. And so I had originally planned to do out of Zevakim 14 tonight, but I'm going to preface it with a couple of passages from the tractate Megillah, okay, which is in Seder Moed, whereas Zevakim is in Seder Kodashim. And but the question is that the Pesach, and I want to read this to you. Hopefully I can get it. Let's see here. All right. Now this is the Temple Institute. And all right. Now this, if you want to look up the article that I'm looking at, it's the importance of this commandment. Okay, wait just a minute. All right. This is their article on the red heifer. And I'm not going to read this whole article. I just want to read a part of it. Again, this is the Temple Institute. Okay, give me a second to get down. Okay, so here it says the importance of this commandment, meaning the red heifer, is a prerequisite to fulfilling the complete service in the Holy Temple. The preparation of the red heifer is a precondition for the reinstitution of complete service in the Holy Temple. Although in a situation where there are no ashes of the red heifer, those temple services which are designated to be performed on a specified day must be conducted even in a state of ritual purity, such as the Tamid, the daily offering, the Musafim. Okay, the Musaf services are going to be services for like Rosh Hashanah, or the Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, starting in the new year. Well, let's start with Pesach and Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. Okay, and these are all listed for you in Numbers chapter 28 and 29. And must be conducted even in a state of ritual impurity, such as the Tamid. the daily offering, the Musafim, additional offerings for Sabbath and festivals, the Paschal lamb, etc. However, all the other offerings which do not have a designated time frame may only be brought when the officiating Kohanim or priest and the individuals bringing the offerings are ritually pure. Furthermore, entrance to the sacred courtyard for the performance of services that are not time dependent is only permitted to those who are ritually pure. In addition, there are commandments that are to be performed outside of the temple compound only by a person in a state of purity. For example, the commandment to separate a tithe from produce and separate part of one's bread, but these may only be given to the Kohanim when the item, and then it goes on, it's dealing with the Maaser Sheni and so forth. Okay. Now, let me get a tractate, and I want to go to Kelim, and in Kelim, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and set up my projector here. We'll need it as we go along, I believe, later on in the evening. You'll have to give me a second to be able to get this going. Okay, so we're in the Tractate Kelim. Close that. And if you'll see right here in the previous Mishnah 1:6, it says that there are 10 sanctities or levels of Kedusha, basically. Okay. Here you have me Kedushat, okay, the 10 sanctities, and it starts off. We're not going to read all of these. All we want to do is come to one. But basically, it says the land of Israel is more sanctified than all the other countries of the world, and it gives you 2 reasons why. Then you have cities surrounded by a wall in the land of Israel more sanctified than this. For we send the lepers and a dead body out. Okay, so it's giving you the reason. All right, and so then 1:8. Okay, it's talking about Jerusalem here. Within the walls is more sanctified than these, for we may eat their kodashim kalim. That means holy offerings, not most holy, but holy offerings. And Maaser Sheni, second time, or Habayat, the Temple Mount, is more sanctified than this. For Zavim and Zavot, Nidot, and Yodot, these are bodily fluids, okay, for male and female, may not enter there. So here, this is what we want to come to. The Kel is more sanctified than this, for Gentiles, and one rendered impure by a corpse may not enter there. And then it goes on, and you have Ezrat Nashim. So the Kel is this platform that goes around the courtyard. Okay, so let me stop sharing for a moment. Or actually, I'm going to share different. Okay, so when we say the Kel, and let me find. Let's see mine. Okay, so the Kel will be this area right here. And you'll notice that it goes, see in the back here, okay, it goes around the back, okay, and then it comes around and it goes all the way around, okay, so over here, this is the Kel, and then, but it also goes around the court of the women, okay, so let me get where you can see it, okay, so this is the Kel, and then it comes around and it goes in front. And so both of these courtyards are surrounded by the Kel. And we're told that the Kel is a higher Kedusha or sanctity than the outer courts. Okay. And so both of these courtyards are your inner courtyard. And in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 43, it's describing the altar. And it talks about one section of the altar is the Azarah Katan, the smaller Azarah. And then you have the Azarah Gadol. This would be the Katan, the court of the women. This would be the Gadol. Okay? All right. Now let's go back to our Mishnah. And it says, the Kel is more sanctified than this for Gentiles, and one rendered impure by a corpse. Okay, if you've been rendered impure by a corpse, the only way that you get corpse pure is to be sprinkled with the ashes of the red heifer, which is a 7-day ceremony. So one rendered impure by a corpse may not enter there. And then it goes forward talking about Ezrat Nashim, the court of the women. And then we come into the upper Azarah, the Azarah Gadol, where it says Ezrat Israel is more sanctified than this. That's the first courtyard in the Azarah proper. All right. And they're liable to a sin offering for it. Okay. Ezrat Kohanim is more sanctified than this. For Israelites may enter there only at a time when they're needed for laying hands, for slaughtering, and for heaving. And then it goes on from that. Okay. So we're going to stop sharing and go back we're going to go to our slides. Okay. So I've got these put on slides. And so the question is the Pesach offering. Can the Pesach be offered outside the Azarah? If so, why? And if not, why not? Okay. And so, as I mentioned, I want to go to the tractate Megillah first. And it says there's no difference between a great altar and a small altar, except for Pesach offerings. This is the general rule. What one vowed and donated freely is offered on the altar, but what is neither vowed nor donated freely is not offered on the altar. Okay, so let me go forward. This is the commentary on, this is Megillah 110. Okay, Megillah is again from Seder Moed, and it basically is going to deal with scrolls, but there's very important information that is given here in the Kahati or in the Mishnah. Now, this is the Kahati translation, and these are Rabbi Pinhas Kahati, his notes. Prior to the construction of the tabernacles in the wilderness, very interesting that he pluralized that, the Israelites have been permitted to offer offerings, I'm trying to not use the word sacrifices, on altars called bamot. Okay, that's going to be the Hebrew word bamot, and a bama means a high place, erected in the places of their choice, as offerings have been offered from the time of Adam to Moshe. So before the Mishkan, when people had an offering that they wanted to give, a burnt offering or a thank offering or whatever, they would have a bama. And so we have with the advent of the golden calf and the aftermath of that, we have where the tribe of Levi or set aside in the family of Aaron, they are the Kohanim, with the Levi'im to assist them. Okay? And so they took the place of the firstborn of each family. Okay? He was the priest up until the time of the golden calf. After the golden calf, it's going to be Aaron and his family are the priest. Okay? All right. All right. When the tabernacle, the Mishkan, had been consecrated, it became forbidden to offer offerings, korbanot, except on the altar in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle. Okay, and there's a reference to go look at Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 4. Okay, so let's go forward. And so after Joshua led the Israelites across the Jordan River and the establishment of the tabernacle at Gilgal, it became once again permitted to offer sacrifices or offerings on all bamot. So when they were in the wilderness, you couldn't have a bama. But when they came to Gilgal, it became once again permitted to offer offerings on all bamot, since the Holy Ark was not inside the Mishkan, for it accompanied the Israelites in their wars. In other words, any Israelite was permitted to build for himself an altar wherever he wanted, and to offer offerings upon it. The altar in the Mishkan, or the tabernacle, was called the Great Altar. And here it has, rather than bamot, plural, it's bama, okay? And so, or the public altar. And each private altar was called a small altar, also a bama, okay? So you have a bama gadol and a bama katan, all right? All right, so let's go forward. When the Israelites came to Shiloh and established the Mishkan there, this is Joshua 18:1. The bamot were again prohibited because the altar and the ark were placed in the Mishkan. After Shiloh was destroyed and the ark was captured by the Philistines during the time of Eli the Kohen, that's in 1 Samuel 3, the Mishkan was brought to the city of Nov, where it stood for 13 years. After Nov was destroyed during the time of King Shaul, or Saul, as related in 1 Samuel chapters 21 and 22, Saul had the priest executed by Doeg the Edomite, and the Mishkan was moved to Gibeon. As it is written, and the king went to Gibeon to offer there, for there was the great high place, the great Bama, or Bama Gadol, remaining there for 44 years. During the Nov Gibeon period, bamot were permitted again, once again. And this in the Talmud is going to be spoken on in Zevakim 119a, and we're going to see it in the Mishnah too, for the reason for this. Until the temple was built in Jerusalem, when the bamot were permitted forever. Okay, so when the temple was built in Jerusalem, then bamot were never again allowed. The Mishnah deals with the period when bamot were permitted and states the difference between the great altar and the small altar. Okay. There is no difference. And still, we're in the commentary from 110. There is no difference between a great altar, the public altar in the Mishkan in Gilgal, Nov and Gibeon, and a small altar, a private altar, which anyone will make in any place except for Pesach offerings. For an individual would not offer the Pesach offering on a small altar, but only on the great altar. The Gemara explains that the Mishnah does not refer to Pesach offerings only, but to all obligatory offerings, which have a fixed time, as does the Pesach offering, such as the Tamid and Musaf offerings, and they too may be offered only on the great altar. Okay, let me read that again. The Gemara explains that the Mishnah does not refer to Pesach offerings only, but to all obligatory offerings, which have a fixed time, as does the Pesach offering, such as the Tamid, that's your daily offering, and the Musaf offerings. Now, let me refresh your memory. The article that I was just reading to you out of the Temple Institute said, in the case of the Tamid or any offerings that had a fixed time, then you were to go ahead and do them. Okay? And so I'm at a loss on this, because if you cannot go into the location where the great altar is, okay, that's in the Azarah. That's, let me make sure that everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. All right. So this is the Azarah proper, and here is the altar. Okay, that's the altar it's talking about. Saying this is the only place that you can do those offerings. But wait a second. If you can't go into that area because you have corpse impurity, then how are you going to do that? I mean, I understand what the Temple Institute is saying, with if you have, the obligation to do this, but it's like one contradicts the other. One kind of disqualifies, or it erases the other. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. All right. The Gemara explains that the Mishnah does not refer to Pesach offerings only, but to all obligatory offerings which have a fixed time, as do the Pesach offerings, such as the Tamid and the Musaf offerings, and they too may be offered only on the great altar. Okay? Obligatory offerings which do not have a fixed time, such as the bullock offered for something hidden from the eyes of the assembly, would not be offered, not even on the great altar. This is the general rule. We're still in the commentary. Whatever offering has become obligatory because a person vowed and or donated freely is offered on the small altar. That means a personal altar. That means that an altar that is outside of the temple. But rather on the great altar, excluding obligatory offerings which do not have a fixed time, which may be offered neither on the great altar nor on a small altar. Okay. Now, this is Megillah 111. There is no difference between Shiloh and Jerusalem, except that in Shiloh, the minor offerings, okay, Kadashim Kalim, okay, in other words, holy offerings, not most holy. In Maser Sheni, second time, in all that he sees, and in Jerusalem inside the wall. Okay, so in Shiloh, if you could see the Mishkan, then that was considered the camp. Okay, and so that is an extension of the temple. But when it came to Jerusalem, it has to be within the walls of the city. And here, major sanctified offerings are eaten inside the enclosures. The sanctity of Shiloh is followed by permission, and the sanctity of Jerusalem is not followed by permission. Okay, so we have to look at the commentary on this. So this is Kahadi's commentary. As was stated in the introduction to the preceding Mishnah, the Bamot were prohibited during the period when the Mishkan remained in Shiloh, and all the offerings were offered on the altar in the Mishkan, as would later be the case regarding the temple in Jerusalem. This Mishnah teaches that there, nevertheless, is a difference between the Mishkan in Shiloh and the temple in Jerusalem. There is no difference between Shiloh during the period that the Mishkan was there and Jerusalem during the time of the temple, except that in Shiloh they may eat minor offerings. Okay, so that's going to be the Karashim Kalim, holy offerings, such as the Todah, okay, the Korban Todah. Shalomim, that means peace offerings, Korban Shalomim, Korbanot Shalomim, and Pesach offerings, and Maser Sheni. For the obligation of Maser Sheni was in force after the Israelites conquered and divided Eretz Israel, and all that he sees in any place from which Shiloh was visible. That's according to Rashi. According to Rambam, in any place from which some part of the house of the Lord could be seen. Okay, two opinions. This law is derived from the passage, take heed to yourself that you do not offer your olot, burnt offerings, in every place that you see. Deuteronomy 12:13. You may not offer in every place that you see, but you may eat in every place that you see. And in Jerusalem, minor offerings of Maser Sheni may be eaten only inside the wall of Jerusalem. So let's stop for a moment. First off, that if you have a Pesach offering, you are required to eat it. Okay, it's not a matter of, well, I'll take a little bit, but the rest of it we will just throw away. You can't do that. Okay, and basically you have to eat what you have. All right, and it's very specific. It's very specific in that you have to eat within the walls of Jerusalem. Okay, now does a person have to be corpse impure in order to eat the Pesach lamb? No. However, the individual that went to the temple to slaughter the Pesach lamb, and if they had a Hagigah, second offering, that those individuals had to be corpse free, because you can only enter the area where they could slaughter these if you were corpse free. And same thing for the Kohanim. The Kohanim had to be corpse free in order to themselves be in that location and to offer any korbanot. Okay? So we're going to go back to the slides. All right. And here in Shiloh and Jerusalem, major sanctified offerings such as the hatat, that is a kodshe kodashim, which means most holy offering, and it's to be slaughtered north of the altar. Its blood has to be applied in certain locations on the altar, and it can only be eaten by the Kohanim. Okay, they are the only ones that can eat most holy offerings, and they are also restricted as to where they are allowed to eat them. And this is going to be in the buildings that are joined to the Azarah. And we're told in the book of Ezekiel that this is the location where they did this. Okay. Okay, and such as the Hatat and Asham, that's the Korban Asham, which is the trespass or the guilt offering, are eaten inside the enclosures, inside the what in the tabernacle was the panels of linen and the panels of cloth that encircled the Mishkan. And so we have the same thing that is given here of the Mishkan in Shiloh and within the walls of the temple courtyard. And I'm going to show you. This is a Megillah. Let me see. Let me grab Megillah. All right. Okay, 111. And Megillah, let's see. And in the commentary, I don't have the commentary here in Hebrew, so you can't see what I was hoping to be able to show you. Okay, we'll be able to do it as we come to Zevakim. Okay, so let's go forward. This is the last part of this. The sanctity of Shiloh is followed. Oh, wait. All right. The sanctity of Shiloh is followed by permission. When Shiloh was destroyed, the Bamot were permitted. And the sanctity of Jerusalem is not followed by permission. Even after the temple had been destroyed, the Bamot were never again permitted or permitted again. Okay, now that's very important. The Bamot were never permitted again, even after the temple had been destroyed. All right, so we're going to go to the book of Zevakim. Okay, this is tractate that we've been talking about. And Zevakim 14:4, permitted and forbidden, private and communal. Before the Mishkan was erected, the Bamot were permitted, and the service was performed by the firstborn. Once the Mishkan was erected, the Bamot were forbidden, and the service was performed by the Kohanim. The most holy offerings were even within the curtains, meaning within the enclosure around the Mishkan proper. The lesser holy offerings throughout the camp of Israel. Okay. Mishnahs 4-9 deal with the Bamot on which offerings were offered outside the Mishkan in the temple. This was permitted before the temple of Jerusalem was erected, but not after, as will be outlined in the following Mishnahot. Before the Mishkan was erected, the tabernacle was erected in the desert. The Bamot were permitted. The Israelites could offer their offerings on Bamot anywhere, as was customary since Adam until the time of Moshe, and the service was performed by the firstborn. Thus, Exodus 24:5, and he sent the young men of the children of Israel who offer burnt offerings and slaughtered peace offerings, which refers to the firstborn who performed the service. Once the tabernacle or Mishkan was erected, the Bamot were forbidden. In other words, offerings could be offered only on the altar in the Mishkan. Thus, Leviticus 17:4, and brings it not to the door of the tent of meeting, the Ochel Moed, to offer an offering to the Lord before the Mishkan of the Lord. Blood shall be imputed to that man, and that man shall be cut off from among his people. And the service was performed by the Kohanim as stated in the Torah. Okay, now understand when it says blood shall be imputed to that man shall be correct. He shall be cut off. Okay, now I want to give a idea of what correct is. Okay. Picture the Azarah. Azarah basically comes from a word that means God will help, okay, or His help. And but the Azarah is called the Manuka. Okay, love this term. In fact, I think it's going to be coming up shortly. But Manuka, there's a lot of Shabbat songs about the Manuka and so forth. My interpretation, so this is my opinion, and that means you got to take it with a real grain of salt, but it means a perfect environment. We rest on the Shabbat, but there is a Manuka that's spoken of in reference to the Shabbat that we strive for. Okay. coming to the land is a Menucha. Okay. The children of Israel, because they rebelled in the wilderness, were not able to enter the Menucha of the land. All right. So the Mishkan, or the temple, is also called the Menucha. Okay. But it is this perfect environment. It's like Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. Okay. But when man sinned, when Adam sinned, and he rebelled against God, when he went directly against what Hashem had said, and then he was changed, and he had to be expelled out of Gan Eden. To be correct is you are expelled out. Okay, big thing. Okay, so let's go back to this. I need to get further than I am right now. All right. And that man should be cut off from among his people, and the service was performed by the Kohanim as stated in the Torah. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains, as stated concerning the sin, guilt, and meal offerings in the court of the tent of meeting. Okay, the Okel Moed. The lesser holy offerings could be eaten throughout the camp of Israel as they encamped by their standards. This is when they were in the wilderness. When they came to Gilgal, okay, so they've entered the land, the Bamot were permitted. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains. The lesser holy offerings, literally anywhere. You didn't have anywhere that you offered a peace offering, a Torah or thank offering, you could eat it in that location, okay? When after crossing the Jordan under Joshua 4:19, they came to Gilgal, the Bamot were permitted. The desert Mishkan, tabernacle, concerning the brass altar made by Moshe when set up at Gilgal, did not include the Holy Ark. That's because Joshua took it with them in the conquest of the land. The altar which public offerings were offered was called the Great Bama, or the public Bama. It was permitted to erect a private Bama anywhere for individual offerings. Now understand, you could bring a sin offering, a korban hatat, okay? That's only for the lesser holy offerings. You can bring an Osham, an Asham. It was permitted to erect a private Bama anywhere for individual offerings, the latter confined to votive and free will offerings. Burnt and peace offerings was called a minor Bama. So you could offer a burnt offering on one of these smaller altars. The sanction of these Bamot in Gilgal is based on Leviticus 17:3-4. Any man of the house of Israel that kills an ox or lamb or goat in the camp and does not bring it to the door of the tent of meeting, the Okel Moed, the Pesach Okel Moed, since the Torah links the prohibition of Bamot to the camp. These were permitted once the Israelites entered the promised land, whose conquests required constant mobility incompatible with encamping around the Mishkan, as in the desert. The most holy offerings offered up on the altar in the Mishkan were to be eaten within the curtains. The lesser holy offerings anywhere in the absence of regular encampment, as explained above. When they came to Shiloh, the Bamot were forbidden. There was no roof, only a house of stones below and curtains above, and that constituted the Menucha. Oh, okay, so there's your term, the Menucha. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains. The lesser holy offerings and Maser Sheni anywhere within sight. We saw that Rashi had one opinion, Rambam had another opinion. And so here, I'm pretty sure it will, when they came to Shiloh, the Joshua 18:1, the whole congregation, the children of Israel, assembled together at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. They placed in it the altar and the holy ark. Offerings had to be brought to the Okel Moed, and the Bamot were forbidden. There was no roof, only a house of stones below and curtains above, unlike the desert sanctuary, that of Shiloh contained no wooden boards. Its walls of stone were roofed with the tabernacle curtains. Hence it was called a house, as in 1 Samuel 1:24, and she brought him to the house of the Lord in Shiloh. Or Mishkan is in Psalms 78, 60. I believe when it says is Hekal in the passage in 1 Samuel 1:24. Okay. And so, as in Psalm 78, 60, he forsook the Mishkan of Shiloh, and that constituted the Manuka mentioned in Deuteronomy 12:9. For you have not yet come to the Manuka, okay? Meaning when you cross the Jordan. Joshua 11, or Deuteronomy 11:31. You may offer offerings on Bamot until you come to the Manuka. See how important this term is? This denoted Shiloh, where they rested after 14 years of conquest and land distribution, and as a consequence were thereby forbidden to offer on Bamot. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains, in other words, within the walls of the house of the Lord in Shiloh. The lesser holy offerings in Maaser Sheni, the latter applied only after they conquered and distributed the land, could be eaten anywhere within sight of Shiloh. That was according to Rashi. Or so Rambam, from wherever the house of the Lord was partially visible. In other words, if you could see the Mishkan. Whereas Rashi said if you could see Shiloh at all. Okay. Thus, Deuteronomy 12:13, take heed that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, meant that while you may not offer, you may eat in any place that you see. According to the Gemara, the sanctuary of Shiloh stood for 369 years. When they came to Nob and Gibeon, this is 14:7. The Bamot were permitted, the most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains, the lesser holy offerings in all the cities of Israel. We're going to stop here for now and take a break. And give me a few moments to get everything set up. All right. Shalom, everyone, again. And I apologize on everything taking a little bit longer tonight. And I know that uh, I clicked a wrong button earlier, and so you weren't seeing the video. And at any rate, uh, on top of everything, with all these new things that we're trying to get set up, I have 4 monitors. 2 of them are out right now. And so I'm having to work and I have to turn one off in order to be able to bring something else up, and it's been complicated. I want to mention again, please be praying for the Justin Hotz family. Really, we've got a situation that needs prayer answers from Hashem. Okay. Also, if you be praying for Brad Gaskell, he's got his upcoming surgery where they have to remove his eye and get that cancer, to get all that done. Bryson Jeffords, that when his surgery comes, that they'll be able to go in and find that everything is, that the cancer's not there. And basically they can sew him back up and he's good to go. Okay. And then also Nick Scarpinato. All right. And I'll keep you posted on that. Now, one thing I had meant to do before we get back into this question on the Pesach offering, can they offer it when they do not have a red heifer? That's a big question. I had a question come in this week from last week's message about, behold, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world, saying that was mistranslated. It should be, behold, the servant of God who takes away the sins of the world. And the servant passages. And the question that came in, and I wanted to address it during the week, but we have a lot that's going on at one time, and so I haven't been able to get to that. But the question came in about that Hasatan, Yeshua called him a murderer from the beginning. Okay. And I didn't fully explain this last week. I apologize. This is in Yochanan chapter 8. And I'm going to read where Yeshua said to them, verse 42, if God were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came forth from God. And have I come on myself, but he sent me, saying, I'm the shliach sent from him. You are of your father, the devil, the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth. And when he speaks, there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. But because I tell the truth, you do not blame me. And it goes on. So the question was, who did he murder? Okay. Each of us are guilty. Now, I went to the book of Job last week, and we have the court sitting in heaven. And Hasatan, all the sons of God, meaning the angels, appear before him. And Hasatan comes in and he makes accusations. He's called the accuser. That's what Satan means. That he makes accusations against Eel. He'd say, he only loves you because you have given him all these riches and all this household and all this prestige and everything. And so Hashem tells him, listen, you can take all those things from him. You can take his health from him, but you do not touch him. Okay, you cannot physically take his life. Okay, there we see Hasatan as a basically under the dominion of Hashem, but he is the basic executioner. Okay, and so an executioner carries out the legal side of the law. Okay, and the law, the Torah says, if you sin, then you're guilty of death. You're going to die. And there is a commentary in the Me'am Loaz commentaries. And it says, this is in the first volume, dealing with Bereshit, and the word Toldot. It makes the comment, Toldot means the history, the genealogy of the people. And it says, if Adam had not sinned, then Adam would still be alive today. He would not have died. Okay. Death only came with sin. Okay. And so Hasatan, when we die, Hasatan basically has come to perform the execution, except when he killed an innocent man. So that's where we come into the Zadik, okay, the suffering servant, okay. We read about the suffering Zadik out of the book of Yehezkel, and that by his death he could justify many, okay, because he was not guilty. He was not guilty, and therefore, when he was slain, then Hasatan became a murderer. But he didn't become a murderer at that physical point in time. From the very beginning, he was a murderer in his heart. Okay, remember that that we are called in time. Time was created for man, but the angels are not caught, whether fallen or not fallen, are not caught in time. Hashem's not caught in time. And so from the beginning, the role of the Mashiach and how he would bring redemption, that was from the beginning of time. This is where the name of the Messiah, the role of the Messiah, was before creation. And Hashem knew man would sin. Man would have to be cast out of Gan Eden. And so at the same time, we have that Hasatan. It did not surprise Hashem when he rebelled. He knew he would rebel because he's not caught in time. He sees the future as well as he sees the present and the past. And so I hope that this helps. And so basically, why we need to be redeemed is that until we have that faith and belief in Hashem, then we are under the dominion or the rulership of Hasatan. But a murderer loses his legal rights. He doesn't have rights. Okay? And so the ownership is broken. Very similar to how Pharaoh, his ownership was broken with his death, allowing the people to go on to the promised land. All right, we're going to get back into our topic for tonight, which is going to take more than just tonight. And it's a very deep topic. It's a very now topic because these questions, these things are coming out. And let me mention Eliyahu Berkowitz has written a book on the red heifer. And I don't have a copy of it yet. I hope to get it shortly. But I have talked with Eliyahu Berkowitz about this thing, about the belief that you can offer a Pesach lamb. Here's where I stand. You have to be in the Azarah, Gadol. You have to be by the great altar in order to offer the Pesach lamb. Okay, now to go into that area, according to what we have in the Mishnah, you cannot even enter the area if you have corpse impurity. So for the life of me, I cannot, we have that the Bamot are not allowed anymore. Okay, even when the temple is destroyed, the Bamot are not allowed. And so to me, I do not see how you could do the Tamid, how you could do the Pesach or any of these things. Now, as we go through the Mishnah, it's going to lay down that it has to be in the Azarah where these things are performed. Okay, and so it doesn't matter if the person has corpse impurity. If you can't go in there, how are you going to be able to do it? Okay, and so the Tamid has to be done there, the Musafim have to be done there, and the Pesach has to be done there. Okay, all right, we're going to go back to our slides. Give me a second. I gotta pull up the. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's get back into this. All right. Um, got a misspelling in here, it looks like. I'm gonna check it. Okay, in 14:7. All right, during the Nov Gibeon period, the Bamot were again permitted thus. Deuteronomy 12:9. And I have the word poi. I'm not seeing it here. In the commentary for 14:7. I'll see if I can figure it out later. All right. For you have not yet come to the Menukah and to the inheritance, whereas the rest referred to Shiloh. Inheritance denoted Jerusalem. Thus, once they arrived at Shiloh and Jerusalem, the Bamot would be forbidden, according to the Gemara. Okay, the Talmud. The Torah alludes to them separately to intimate that the Bamot would again be permitted after the rest, after Shiloh, until the inheritance when the temple was to be built in Jerusalem. The most holy offerings confined to the great Bama were eaten within the curtains of the Mishkan, but the lesser holy offerings in all the cities of Israel, since it was permitted to erect a Bama anywhere and there offer up such offerings. Maser Sheni could also be eaten. Since the Torah likens it to, since the Torah likens it to the lesser holy offerings, the Kodashim Kalim, thus Deuteronomy 12:7, you may not eat within your gates the tithe of your corn or your wine or your oil or the firstlings of your herds or your flock or any of your vows which you vow. Thus, when the lesser holy offerings must be taken to the appointed place, so must Maser Sheni second time. But when lesser holy offerings may be offered in any city of Israel, Maser Sheni second time may be eaten in any city of Israel. This was a comment by Bartanura. Okay. The above reference to all the cities of Israel means that by this time, after conquering and distributing the land, they had already built cities, whereas at the time of Gilgal, they had not done so. Hence, Mishnah 5, when they came to Gilgal, refers to lesser holy offerings anywhere. That's according to Rambam. When they came to Jerusalem, the Bamot were forbidden and were never again permitted. Okay, now that is a key phrase there. And were never again permitted. that constituted the inheritance. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains, the lesser holy offerings of Maser Sheni within the wall. When they came to Jerusalem, this is the commentary, and King Shlomo had built the temple, the Bamot were forbidden and were never again permitted, since the consecration of the temple established its sanctity for all time. I want to repeat that, for all time. That constitutes the inheritance. Thus, Devarim 12:9, for you have not yet come to the rest and to the inheritance, referred to Jerusalem, whose temple's sanctity, even after destruction, is eternal, just like an inheritance. Thus, Psalm 94, verse 14, nor will he forsake his inheritance. The most holy offerings were eaten within the curtains. In other words, within the walls of the temple court. The lesser holy offerings and Maser Sheni were eaten within the walls of the temple. Okay, now I want to check something here. Give me a second. If I were in the right Mishnah. Okay. All right. The lesser holy offerings and Maser Sheni were eaten within the wall of Jerusalem. All offerings consecrated when Bamot were forbidden and offered up outside when Bamot were forbidden involve a positive commandment and a prohibition. One is liable to correct on their account. If one consecrated them when Bamot were permitted and offered them up when Bamot were forbidden, they involve a positive commandment and a prohibition. Now, a positive commandment means you shall do, and a prohibition you shall not do. But one is liable to correct on their account. In other words, this is a very serious question. If one consecrated them when Bamot were forbidden and offered them up when Bamot were permitted, they involve a positive commandment, but involve no prohibition. All offerings consecrated when offerings on the Bamot were forbidden and offered up outside when Bamot were forbidden. For example, one consecrated animal during the Shiloh period and offered it up outside the Shiloh Mishkan involve a positive commandment and a prohibition. The positive commandment of then there shall be a place which the Lord your God shall choose to call his name to dwell there. There shall you bring all that I command you. Devarim 12:11. The prohibition of offering on Bamot implied by the positive commandment, there shall you, in other words, there, but not on Obama, has the status of a positive commandment. The verse. Now this, let me get this. This is going to be Devarim, Deuteronomy 12:13. Take heed. Hishamer, that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see. Conveys a prohibition since Hishamer, take heed, pin, and express, and one is liable to correct on their account. Thus, Leviticus 17:8 through 9. whatever man there be of the house of Israel that offers up a burnt offering or a korban and does not bring it to the door of the tent of meeting. Okay, so let's talk about that for a moment. The door of the tent of meeting. This is the expression Pesach Ohel Moed. Okay, so let me stop sharing this and let me move some things here. All right. So what does Pesach Ohel Moed mean? All right. So this is the court of the women. Okay. Let me see if I can find my super duper pointer, but I don't think I can. So we're going to use the pen again. Okay. So this is the court of the women. All right. And so this is the eastern side. So this is the eastern gate. Right here is where they keep the ashes of the red heifer. Okay. And right over here is the Sanhedrin Ketanah, the smaller court. And so you can see here's your eastern entrance. This is a southern entrance right over here. Okay. Into the Ezrat Nashim. And this is the northern entrance. But this, and we're going through major revision on this, this is the Nicanor Gate. And we have, for years, been trying to find the thickness of this wall right here. We just found it, okay? We also found out more information about what was in the inside, how it was laid out. And it's very, very interesting. But this is the Nicanor Gate, okay? So here is the Azarah, which the Azarah equals the term Okel Moed. Okay, it equals the term Okel Moed. Okay, and so the Pesach Ohel Moed is this, or we could say here. Now this is, I wish I had a thing that I could stick this through here, but you see there's a gate right here. See that gate? And then there is a gate. I don't know if I can get it turned where you can actually see it. There's a gate right here that goes all the way through this building. Okay. You might be able to see there's a little stairway going up, and because you're rising in elevation. Now it's required that the Sanhedrin give their, when they are at full power, to give, for instance, a death sentence, that can only be done when they sit in this chamber. Okay, this is the chamber within this big building. It's called the Beit of Tennis, and this is the Lishkat Hagazit. And you can see right here, this is the seating for the Sanhedrin right there. Okay, but they have to be Pesach Ohel Moed. Okay, they have to be where a gate in the building they're in, it goes into this area of the Azarah. That's what has to be fulfilled. And so basically, when you were in the Mishkan out in the wilderness only had this area here. Okay. And it had tents around the perimeter, which allowed it to operate. Okay. Now, the members of the Sanhedrin have to be able to sit. And so we have a ruling in the Tractate Maaser Sheni, and it tells us that if a building sits where it opens to both the inner courtyard, the Azarah, and it opens to the Kel, Okay. So kel, there's been a lot of different definitions of where the word kel comes from. My personal feeling is it comes from the word whole, and which means common. It is the common area of the higher sanctified area. And in the common area on the kel, you can sit. And so they put a marker, we don't know if it was a marker in the wall, if it was a different colored tile on the floor, or if it was a wall between. But we have where the unsanctified area, in other words, the area that opens to the kel, it is one end of the building, and the area that opens to the Azarah has the Kedusha, has the sanctification and the rules. And so in this end, because it opens to the kel and the Azarah, then by having this wall here, they're able to sit. Okay. One thing that certainly should be coming out is that when you talk about the all of these things, it's very legal. Okay. It's very legal. It has to deal with even a letter can change the legal ruling, okay, on how something is done. And so you can't just say, well, I think this or I think that, okay? It is where that you have to go in and you have to see what is the legal ruling. And many, many times you have, just like we talk about in the scripture, we have ramez, where one passage alludes to another passage. Well, one halakha also stands upon dozens of other halakot, okay? And so you have to look at all of these. So in understanding what the Patakohel Moed is, let's go back to our slides. Okay, it says, that man, that whatever man there be of the house of Israel that offers up a korban olah, burnt offering, or korbanot, and does not bring it to Patakohel Moed, to the door of the tent of meeting, that man shall be cut off from among his people. He's expelled out of the garden. Okay, and it has other implications because he's basically expelled out of the community of Israel. All right, and so let's go forward. If one consecrated them when offerings of bamot were permitted and offered them up outside, for example, one consecrated an animal at the time of Givon and offered it up outside the temple court, outside the Azarah. And after the temple had been erected in Jerusalem, when bamot were forbidden, they involve a positive commandment and a prohibition, but one is not liable to correct on their account. Thus, and this is going to be back Leviticus 17, verses 5 through 7. To the end that the children of Israel may bring their offerings, which they offer in the open field, that they may bring them to the Lord, to the Patakohel Moed, to the door of the tent of meeting, and they shall no more offer their offerings to the demons. They shall be a statute forever to them throughout their generations. Okay, now, we have this problem, though, that once that the temple was built, even if it's destroyed, we can't have bamot. We can't have private bamot. We can't have a place other than here. According to the rabbis, this refers to offerings consecrated while bamot were permitted, but offered up when forbidden, since which they offer implies that offerings to be offered up on a bama and offered when bamot were forbidden are counted offered up in the open field. Now that they may bring them to the Lord, to the door of the Ochel Moed, the Patakohel Moed, constitutes a positive commandment, whereas they shall no more offer their offerings is a prohibition. Nonetheless, one is not liable to correct on their account, since this shall be to them throughout their generations implied this, but no other penalty for violating a positive commandment and a prohibition. In other words, no correct is thereby incurred. If one consecrated them when bemot were forbidden, for example, at the time of Shiloh, and offered them up outside at the time of Nov when bemot were permitted, they involved the violation when consecrating of a positive commandment that of they may bring them to the Lord, to the Patakel Hel Moed, to the door of the tent of meeting, but involved no prohibition and certainly no correct, since they were offered when bemot were permitted. Now, 14:10, let me check something real quick. All right. The following offerings were offered in the Mishkan. Offerings consecrated to the Mishkan. Public offerings were offered in the Mishkan. Private offerings on a bama. Private offerings consecrated to the Mishkan had to be offered in the Mishkan, but if one offered them on a bama, he was not liable. Wherein did the private bama differ from a public bama? In smicha, the laying on of hands, slaughtering on the north side. Okay, so let me stop sharing here. And we're going to look at the model once more. Now, I'm telling you that to understand the model helps tremendously. Okay. So when it says on the north side, let me put this back on top. And let me okay. And I'm going to take this one off over here. Okay. So here's our altar right here. You don't have another offering for animal offerings. Okay, there is the incense altar inside here, and some of the blood has to be applied to the horns of the altar, the incense altar on the inside, but no animal parts are burnt on the incense altar, only on the outside. Okay, this is the slaughter area. And it's 32 amot by 32 amot, 32 cubits by 32 cubits. And it includes this area right here. This is where we have rings and so forth, tabaot. And but this is for communal offerings. So your offerings are divided not only into most holy and holy, but also into communal and personal. Okay, so let's say that you are bringing a communal offering, and it will be slaughtered in this area, and then then whether it's personal or communal, it's going to be burned on this fireplace right here. Okay, this is a fireplace for coals. And these coals are going to be used inside on the Mizbeach Ketorah, or the incense altar. This is a fire that's kept burning in case others go out. They put a fourth fire here on Yom Kippur because they need more coals. And if you're bringing a personal offering that is a holy offering, okay, in other words, it's Kadashim Kalim, all right? It is not most holy. It's Kadashim Kalim, then you come into this area on the south side. But if it's most holy, okay, so if it is a burnt offering, if it is a korban hatat, a korban asham, then you have to come over here. If it's a communal burn, a most holy offering, it has to be north. In other words, north of the altar. Okay. Now, so let's go back to our slides. All right. Slaughtering on the north side. So now we understand what that is. Sprinkling the blood around. Okay. So the blood, on most cases, the blood has to be applied where it hits all four sides of the altar. Okay. So they're going to stand at a corner and they will throw the blood and it will splatter on both two sides of the altar at once. So you have two throws, but you're going to cover four sides. All right. And the Pesach offering is different because the Pesach offering, the blood has to be poured onto the base of the altar. Okay. So the blood around waving, that's tenufa. Okay. All right. So tenufa, we do tenufa for the first fruits, for instance, not only the lulav, but the first fruits, and there are a number of things the tenufa offering is done. And presenting, okay, so the presenting is going to be like you were bringing the first fruits and so forth in your basket. Rabbi Yehuda says there was no meal offering on a bama, okay, no meal offering, the minachot. Most of these offerings require a meal offering, but you don't get to eat that. The most holy offerings, the kohanim get to eat the most holy offering, but you don't. Only the private offerings that are kadshei kadshim, the holy offerings, do you get to eat. You can eat them anywhere as long as you are in the camp of Israel, meaning within the walls of the city of Jerusalem. Okay, so, all right. There was no meal offering on a bama, priesthood, priestly vestments, service vessels, pleasing flavor, the separation of the blood, the washing of the hands and feet. Our time, no Torah, and uncleanness were like in both. Okay, of these things, the service vessels, the priestly, but all that has to be in the most holy. Okay, all right. So let's go forward. Here's the Kahati commentary on 14:10. As mentioned in our commentary of the earlier Mishnahs, or Mishnah, the brass altar made by Moshe and placed in the Mishkan erected in Gilgal, Nov and Givon, were known as the Great Bama or the public Bama. The following offerings were offered in the Mishkan, in Gilgal, Nov or Givon. Though one could offer offerings on Bamot, the following had nevertheless to be offered up in the Mishkan. Offerings as such consecrated to the Mishkan, in other words, public offerings were offered in the Mishkan since they could be presumed to have been consecrated to the Mishkan. And private offerings consecrated without specific designation may be offered on a bama. Private offerings consecrated expressly to the altar in the Mishkan had to be offered in the Mishkan and not on a bama. But if, wait, I'm not sharing. This occurred to me. All right, I'm going to go back so that you can see. All right, this is the laying on of hands on the head of the animal, slaughtering the kodshei kodashim, offerings on the north side, sprinkling the blood around it, and telling two applications, which are four. That's what it means. You throw twice and you hit four sides. Waving and presenting the meal offerings. All these acts were performed on public bamot alone, smekah thus. Before the Lord he shall put his hand upon, slaughtering on the north side. Thus, northward before the Lord, sprinkling the blood around us, and they shall sprinkle the blood round about the altar concerning waving. The Torah states, a wave offering before the Lord regarding presenting it is stated, he shall bring it to the altar. The Higasha El Hamizbach, whereas a private bama denotes neither before the Lord nor an altar. Rabbi Yehuda says there was no meal offering on a public bama either. Thus, Leviticus 17:5, to the end that the children of Israel may bring their offerings, which they offer in the open field, refers to the offerings consecrated when the bamot were permitted. Since the text continues with, and offer them for peace offerings, the rabbis concluded that animal offerings, but no meal offerings or burnt offerings, were offered on the bamot. Other differences between the public and the private bama or the priesthood. A priest must perform the service on the altar and not on a bama. Thus, Leviticus 17:6, and the Kohen, the priest, shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the Lord and at the Petach Ochel Moed, at the door of the tent of meeting. In other words, whereas the altar requires the ministration of a priest, a private bama does not. Priestly vestments, thus, to minister in the holy place, but not in a bama. Service vessels, thus, with which they minister in the sanctuary, pleasing flavor. One may not burn on the altar limbs which were first roasted elsewhere because this lacks pleasing flavor, but one may do so on a private bama. A pleasing flavor to the Lord, the separation of the blood, the horizontal hut hasikra around the middle of the altar. Give me a second. We're almost out of time here. I'm going to show you what that's talking about. This is a very heavy bottle. Okay, you see the red line right here. Okay, so different offerings, the blood had to be applied below the red line or above the red line. Okay, that's what it's referred to. All right, we're going to close up here in just a second. Let me finish this slide. And I'm going to tell you where we're going to be going to next week. All right. That the net may reach to the midst of the altar, exclude the bama, the washing of the hands and feet. Thus, when they go to the Ochel Moed, they shall wash, excluded the bama. You didn't have to wash the hands and the feet like a Kohen has to do to approach the altar. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here because we just flat out have run out of time. But we're going to develop this further. What we're going to look at is in the Tractate Pesachim, and we're going to see if it specifies where the Pesach has to be offered. And remember that you read it tonight, okay? That these things that were instituted were continuing. It's not something that down the way that you can change. It's something that was instituted by the court at the time of the temple, but they were instituted as the inheritance that they continue on. Okay, so listen. Hopefully, be praying that we get worked out where we can live stream both to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time. You can pick what you want. pray that that hopefully some of you will become members of Jerusalem Temple Study. It would help us. It's a way to support us, but you get access to everything that we have. Newsletters for Adore have not gone out yet, and so we're going to reach a decision on that. We've got to get the newsletters. The holdup was me. I was way behind and didn't have the time to be able to get where we could put together a newsletter, and we got it and everything, but we just it's getting very close. It's almost decided, and we don't have our Adore newsletter. It's written and it's printed, but we don't have it out yet. So please be bearing with us. We're going to try to get everything kind of pulled together. Remember the people that we asked you to pray about. Please be praying for them. These are very serious prayer requests. Okay, and I just want to thank y'all for sticking with me, and I hope that you get benefit. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. All of this helps us. And Debbie, by the way, has it's on our Facebook. It's going to go up on YouTube. She has a little podcast of shopping for Passover and preparing for Passover, and it's up now. So I hope you'll go see it and let us know what you think. All right, shalom.